Hi, this is Lisa with Coping with ER. And today we are reading Chapter 14 of E.T. the Extraterrestrial in his adventure on Earth. So, Connie, E.T. is wearing sunglasses just for you. They don't fit his head though, so I had to put it on this part because his head is bulbous. Okay, ready? Here we go. Night had fallen, and Elliot had brought in every medicine the family cupboard held. But they just lay in his room like toy medicines, useless for what ailed the creature lying in the bed. E.T. was in the whirling vortex of the gravitational force. His dream of Earth life and his dream of starshine was over. His sun was a black sun now, and all because he couldn't resist peeking in windows. Never peek in windows. Somehow he must prevent his personal disaster from overtaking these earthlings, or the earth itself, for he didn't know. There was no formulated equation for this planet. It might indeed follow him if he went, for his body contained a great atomic secret. Every plant in the house was dead. The walls themselves seemed to be heaving toward him, and each breath of his own lung. Heal yourself, begged E.T. again, for he felt that the old genius could do anything. But there are some things not even the elderly gods can accomplish. E.T. slowly shook his head. Then give it to me, said Elliot, not knowing that, in fact, he already had too much of it. Had the power to vanish into an alien world, but it was a power so old and so fast he could not control it, and the rush into the other dimension would scissor his consciousness in half. Carry me far away, whispered E.T., and leave me. E.T., said Elliot, I'd never leave you. The long voyager summoned himself back toward the surface again to speak, to plead. I am a grave danger to you. He lifted the tip of his long finger. And to your planet. He lifted his head and his star eyes shining in the moonlight. But our communicator, said Elliot. It's still working. Junk, said E.T. His eyes flashed in the darkness within them. Elliot saw lines of incredible complexity, stitching interstices of light, eyes comprehending collapsing depth force. The ceiling groaned overhead, and Harvey whined in the corner, and the unearthly eyes gazed on at rushing mysteries of matter that no mere botanist of the stars could alter. You're not even trying, said Elliot, afraid of the eyes and drawn to them. Please, E.T. The night passed on, and E.T.'s body became more rigid and gray all over. His lips moved, but no words came, and only an inner rushing noise of the ultimate compression of stellar matter. The mass of E.T.'s body, though no bigger than an umbrella stand, was of incredible density. His high energy load was being soaked up by his nucleus. Things were piling up inside him, squeezing a star core. Elliot's body felt as though it were made of chains of iron holding him down. He felt heavier and heavier, and his head was splitting, and dark depression weighed on him like 100,000 tons of lead. When the gray light of morning finally came, he pulled himself up and looked at E.T. The monster was like something drained, no longer gray but white, a white dwarf. Elliot dragged himself into the hallway and staggered down it toward Mary's room. He pushed open the door, iron depression and cosmic loneliness, all one to him now. He felt like an extraterrestrial, felt alien to himself, and he was afraid. Mary opened her eyes and looked at him. What's wrong? Everything is worth nothing, he said, feeling the deep infalling, the collapsing, the departing. Oh, baby, that's no way to feel, said Mary. Thought, in fact, it was exactly how she felt, too. All night she'd been dreaming she was underwater, unable to get to the surface. I have something wonderful, said Elliot, and I've made it sad. Everyone feels like that now and then, said Mary, trying for an approximate platitude. But it was no medicine for her, so why should it be any better for Elliot? She patted the bed, indicating the space beside her. Warmth was better than words, but her body felt cold in the gray dawn, chilled to the marrow, and chillier still as Elliot moved in beside her. What was going on in the house? She sensed that there was something at its core, unnameable, horrible, gathering everything to it. Can you tell me about it? She asked. Later. Elliot snuggled against her, but there was the same sense of falling down deeper into the vortex, where nobody's hands could reach them, because nobody existed. Go to sleep, said Mary, stroking his brow. Go to sleep. Elliot slept and dreamt of an iron ball growing larger, then smaller still, and he was riding it through nothingness. When the 7:30 alarm went off, Mary rose alone, leaving Elliot in his deep slumber. She knew he could fake fever, but this did not seem to be an act. As she put on her housecoat, a pull came into her eyelids, closing them. She pulled back, shook herself, fully awake, and stared at Elliot. Yes, there was something not right about him today. Was he hungover? Was her baby following so fast in his no-good father's footsteps? She found 6 empty beer bottles. The door opened, and Michael came in. Where's Elliot? Don't wake him, said Mary, and pushed Michael with her into the hallway. Do you know what's bothering him? Mary tightened her housecoat. He seems very depressed. Probably just school, said Michael. School is depressing. The older brother glanced back down the hall. There was something wrong with E.T. There was something wrong with Elliot, and his own head was splitting. Well, said Mary, I want him to rest. Let me stay with him, said Michael. I only have a half day of school today. Please, Mom. Mary took aspirin out of her housecoat. All right, she said. Maybe you can snap him out of it. She walked to the staircase, trying to shake her own stupor. Had she taken Valium by mistake last night? Her head felt like a lead balloon. And that's the end of chapter 14. All right. Love you guys and be good.